Management Research. Hello and welcome to the Management Research podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Eugene Bogodistov. Hello and welcome to the next episode in my podcast, this time dedicated to the well-being in firms of burnout prevention. And the whole mini-series is around our book that Jürgen Mormont and I wrote, and it is about the process management tools for burnout prevention. In our previous episode, we started talking about the early indicators of burnout, and actually we agree that early indicators of burnout are usually already too late. You need to find early indicators of emotionally, mentally depleting activities. It means you need to find out what is depleting the energy in order to prevent burnout before it appears. If you have indications of burnout, usually it means that burnout is already there. And in the previous episode, we talked about a tool that is called the Let's Make It Worse. And Let's Make It Worse is an interesting kind of destructive tool that really helps you find out what are the mostly emotional and mental depleting processes within your organization. In this episode, we are going to talk about the stapling. Stapling is an interesting tool from process management, and it is usually applied to understand how the process looks like. If you think about the processes, they are usually depicted as a kind of set of activities. There is activity A, then activity B, then activity C, and then you receive the final outcome of the process. In real life, the person who is going to undergo all these activities may do them in a different form, in a different way. He or she has to interact with many people. And if you want to understand how the process really is, let's assume we cannot apply process mining to everything, then the best way is just to follow the person and take the idea is that actually each step you make, you write on a sheet of paper and then you staple it into the pile of different activities. And let's say you come to office and you go to say hello to all your colleagues. And this is the first activity, meeting the colleagues, saying hello, which involves so and so many people, and this is the first step. Then the second step, you're going to, check your emails and respond to all the urgent emails. Then the second step is written on a separate sheet of paper and it's stapled to the previous one. And in this event, you can find out many things about the process. First of all, you find out what is the real process. Not what is being described in this formally, the few activities boxes process, but actually what really happens. Many activities that we do, they are not depicted in any form. Many activities that we do involve more people than we assume. Many activities may be changed in different, can be performed in different order and can be necessary, less necessary, and so on. We don't even think about them. So the stapling in process management allows you to depict the real process and, for instance, to trace how the person is moving within the organization. This is helpful if you want to apply, for instance, the 7 or 8 wastes approach from lean thinking, where you try to reduce the wastes, and you can try, this would be the motion actually, if you have to move between several locations, or over processing if you're doing something twice, whereas you shouldn't have done it twice, like checking different homeworks while somebody else already has checked them or pre-checked them. In our book, Jürgen Mormont and I were thinking that we need to do something very similar, but also depicting how people feel in this event. If we slightly change this stapling exercise, we will not only know how the process looks like, but we can also know how the person, he or she, feels in each task, before each task or after each task or during the task. If you do it for yourself, you can just write down how you feel yourself before you started this activity, during the activity, and after the activity. You can only simplify it and ask people how they feel after the activity and see what is actually changing between different activities. If you felt happy after the first one and set up the second one, we don't really need to know too much about the switch between the one and second one. You switched from positive to negative mood, and it is already very interesting information that will tell you a lot about the activity that you performed. In the same way as stapling allows us to also trace the interaction with other people, we can find out whether certain interaction causes you emotional energy depletion. Emotional labor costs energy, and we know it from literature, we know it from research. I also conducted several studies on emotional labor, and really emotional labor is depleting our energy. What if it is not emotional labor on average? It depends on whom exactly you talk to. And again, I want to remind you that in our book, Jürgen Morman and I would talk about the individual, tailored processes. It can happen that talking to one person would make one colleague happy and a second colleague sad. As you know, we have issues in communications, we have different characters, we have different issues at work, and we just like or dislike some people. Knowing this information would help you to design the process in a way that some people who, let's say, are not so good at interacting with each other don't have to interact with each other. And this stapling exercise will help you. You can try it out for yourself. Just take several sheets of paper and each time you change the activity, write down what exactly you're doing, when you started, when you finished, and how you feel yourself. And if you have to interact with somebody else, write this information also down. Theoretically, you can take this information and process it manually or even using Excel and some statistics exercise if you collect sufficient of data, and you will find out what is actually depleting your energy and where the process is, let's say, overcomplicated or more complicated than necessary, where you can optimize your process, what can you do better. So all this stuff can be performed if you make this stapling exercise. Very simple, very good, and as you can see, we can learn a lot from process management that we can apply to organizational psychology. Enjoy this exercise, and I'll see you in the next episode where we're going to talk about the next tool for an early burnout indication. Bye bye.